I've got to tell you, I'm such a fan of all of your work, and your book is no different. And of course, somebody that is so able to compose and write such beautiful musicals, a memoir must have been very easy for you, or was it?
Well, it wasn't music, so...
Yeah, right.
But no, it was great fun. I enjoy writing myself, and I promise you every word is mine, so it's all my fault.
Right.
But it was good fun. It's a long old process, though, writing these books.
Yeah.
And one of the things, of course, one thinks one remembers everything. But luckily, I kept all my old desk diaries. So I went through them, and nothing seemed to add up. So I sort of then rewrote everything and thought, you know, I'm going to have to contact a load of old friends and old people, you know, and people I hadn't seen for years, which was great fun. And of course, I then pieced together that the story was slightly different than I remembered.
Does anybody here keep a journal? Do you journal? Anybody here? It's like a, yeah, I do. And when
Is it a lost art?
No, but I never kept a diary as such. It was just literally, I kept thinking, that happened there. I thought I was in New York then, but I was in fact in London.
Interesting.
You know,
yeah.
You know, it's amazing. Kelly mentioned it. An Oscar, Tonys, Grammys. One has to wonder what it was like when you were a child growing up at the Webber house.
Well, yeah, my parents it was a strange household, to put it mildly. We lived in a flat that was rented by my grandmother. My father was a musician. He was the director of the London College of Music at one point, but which sounds awfully grand, but, you know, he didn't have any money, and my mum was a piano teacher, and we lived in this kind of fairly run-down flat in a part of London called Kensington, and frankly, I mean, it was bohemian beyond belief. My brother played the cello. There was me with my my sort of pop and rock and my gramophone with my musicals. My dad had a huge electronic organ because he was a very good organist, so we had that. Then eventually a pianist moved in called John Lill, who my mother took rather a shine to, and he was the guy who ran the Tchaikovsky competition, so we had him.
It sounds like you were living in a musical
my goodness, I mean,
like
it was bedlam.
Yes.
Bedlam.
Yeah.
And I mean, you thought the poor neighbours. There was one day when my brother was playing the cello very loudly, and Tim Rice then moved in at one point as well. So it was. This is a bit later. It wasn't so much when I was a kid. The guy leapt out of the door as Julian was playing the cello, and he said, "I don't mind that pianist." He said, "But it's that oboe player I can't stand."
And you used to, as a child, you would build stages and sets?
Well, I went to, what got me really going with theatre was that I had a wonderfully theatrical aunt who knew various people in the theatre, and she was very glamorous for me. She was the most politically incorrect woman ever. Yeah. And on daytime TV, I am not going to quote any of her lines.
Exactly.
Because I really will be thrown out of the country forever. But anyway, I was taken to the London Palladium pantomime. You don't really have pantomimes in this country, but it was a really, really great. It was Aladdin, I think it was, and I thought it was magic. Yeah. But because I like music, I very, very quickly got into musicals, and that was kind of weird because musicals in Britain at that time for young people were off limits. I mean, and certainly as I got into my teens when the Beatles happened and all of that, you were considered mad if you liked musicals. Right. But I did, and I luckily saw My Fair Lady, West Side Story on the stage, and the films of Gigi and South Pacific all in one Christmas holidays when I was about 9 years old, and I was hooked.
And did you know then, as a 9-year-old, were you like, this is kind of, because I think that a lot of people being here on the show, they know at their earliest ages what their destiny is.
Well, I knew that something was going to happen with musicals. Wow. I knew at that point. Or possibly, I was very interested in architecture and art too, which was another side of me, and still am. But I don't know, I was hooked. I mean, I really knew. So by the time I was, 12, 13, I was writing musicals, and we tried out them in my silly toy theatre, with me pushing little toys around and playing the piano. And
what did your parents say? Were they on board? Were they in favour of you writing musicals?
Well, I mean, sort of my aunt drummed up.
What, is this it?
That's it, yes.
Wow.
That's a very, very important... You see, I can't think what musical that could possibly have been. Looks like a kind of early version of Les Miserables. But why they're all quite in Cossack outfits, I don't know. Well, we'll have to... But no, it was great, and I had bored parents friends came round, and my brother sang, and we even built a revolving stage out of an old gramophone turntable.
No.
Because when the theatre got very high-tech and sophisticated,
no kidding.
We put this turntable in and sawed through a bit of wood, which was the stage. And you know, you're all too young here to remember the days of vinyl and 16 RPM.
Well, no, it's all back. You know.
Well, I know it's all back.
Yeah.
You see, I've never got rid of my vinyl turntables,
You
so
were
I've been
smart.
ahead of the game for years.
Yes.
It's so great that you, at 9 years old, had that Christmas holiday, because the world's experienced the most amazing art from you, and we're going to listen to some of that.
I can't tell you, I have lost count. I've lost count of the times I've seen Phantom of the Opera. And that is a thing, isn't it? I mean, people that go to see your musicals, they've not seen them once, they've seen them
For a
20
lifetime.
times, 30 times.
Well, I mean, the run of Phantom is extraordinary. I never thought that would happen.
Yeah.
But it's still in great shape in New York. When we had the 30th birthday, I thought, I mean, it's amazing how the standard the production's kept up. It's fabulous.
It really is, and
Right.
I've got to tell you, I've taken my kids over various stages of the, you know, when they have an event, something special to celebrate, we go see Phantom of the Opera.
I mean, it's really important to take kids to the theatre, I think.
So, the music of the night, which is such a great song, would you play a little bit of that?
Yes, if you would
From the
like.
longest running show on Broadway.
Yeah.